Okay, that is 15 out of 15 channels at the 24-second mark. We are live. Good morning. Hello. How's it going, everybody? Hey, Debbie. How are you guys? How's it going? What are you up to, Debbie? What's going on this morning? Anything interesting going on? I got good stuff here. Man. Hey, Lynn. Josh, good morning. You love the new look. Thank you, Lynn Marie. I saw something really interesting this morning, man. And those of you that that follow, maybe you got kids, maybe you watch the news over the last year or two, and maybe on social media, you may have heard about this thing called critical race theory, or CRT. And you just gotta love when, someone has an idea and the people who don't like that idea, they come up with their own version of that idea to try to combat the original idea. Right? It's snowing, Troy. Hell yeah, you said it was freezing cold. Do you know, hey, IndieLeft.news, what is up? Everybody check out IndieLeft.news on YouTube, please. Check out his channel. It's awesome. Want to buy more coin but not sure. Join Ethereum or add more Bitcoin. It's really down now. Okay, Lynn, I guess you weren't listening to what I was saying. But I'll keep going. And you may have at some point decided to ignore it or think that it was silly. You hear people debating it and you see people getting all in a kerfuffle on social media about critical race theory. And they're fucking freaking out about it. Right? And you're like, okay, so let me find out what this CRT thing is so I can better understand why there's such a argument from both sides about it. So then you go into the news and you find out, hey, what's CRT? But you get two different stories about it. Hey, Stephanie. But you get two different stories about what CRT is. Right? Don't you? Depending on if you're getting it from Democrats or Republicans, they both tell you it's something different. So the people who support critical race theory, and mostly Democrats, liberals, will tell you this is just assessing the way history is treated in schools and addresses the fact that it might be being portrayed slanted to your children. In other words, America's done some bad things, and when we teach American history, we kind of delete some of the bad stuff. Critical race theory addresses those issues about the things that have been deleted or the things that are uncomfortable to talk about, asks the question why we don't talk about it. Yeah, it's an indoctrination plan to get your kids to hate America. That's what you'll hear from the Republicans. And from the Democrats, they'll tell you, we're just trying to give the kids the full picture of history by introducing an advanced class to younger students. Do I think we should tell our children the truth in school? Hey man, I don't think you should tell your kids that Santa Claus is bringing them presents. When they're 3, 4, 5 years old, you start lying to them when they're children. When they're babies, you're lying to them. So by the time they get to school, they're just used to being lied to, man. They don't know. I say be honest all the time. That's my theory. Just tell them what happened. Tell them the truth, man. Why is that so hard? Give them the whole truth. That was the thing my father used to say to me. He would say, he's like, yeah, you tell me what you want, your narrative. He said, but if you're not telling me everything, then you're fucking lying to me. He said, not telling me all of the facts is lying. I totally get that, and I totally agree. And you want to teach kids in school history, you give them the entire story. You don't just say, white people came to this country, some folks were killed, and now democracy. And literally, they just kind of spread it over the bread, evenly. So they just kind of glaze over it. And they don't go into the fact that, oh, by the way, we murdered 1 million African Americans just transporting them here. You want to talk about how horrible we were? I mean, yeah, okay, 100 million dead from communism. Okay, sure. 80 million indigenous murdered on this soil. 1 million slaves murdered, bringing them into the United States. 5 million slaves murdered within the United States, slavery and all. And that's just slavery and us getting here. Just our just being here, arriving. That's how much death and destruction we caused. We hadn't even set up our government yet. We were just some murdering motherfuckers, and you can't deny it. But not if you're a Republican. The Republicans don't want that kind of stuff taught to their kids. Their kids should only find out that the only people who ever died ever were communists and socialists. Those are the only people who ever died. No one's ever died under capitalism. No one's ever died under American regime. That's called American exceptionalism. Lying about our history. Oh, we're exceptional. No, we're not. Oh, we're the greatest country in the world. No, we're not. So stop fucking lying about it. Jack Cleary, what's up? Indy, Stephanie notices the beard is gone. We want to stop propagandizing our kids. It's embarrassing when they talk to people from other countries. It's embarrassing, yes. We committed genocide multiple times as a country. Yeah, I wonder how many people we've murdered. I wonder how many, we had 1 million people in Iraq that we murdered, right? You start adding it up, I'm pretty sure we're going to surpass the 100 million that were killed by communism. And I have a feeling that we're going to be like 120 million here at the United States. I mean, we're starting with, 86 million that I've already mentioned? There's 86 million right there. Okay, 87 million if you consider Iraq. 87 million. Okay? That's only 13 million short of communism. Hey man, we're just a fucking Holocaust away from being communism. And I wouldn't be surprised if we could come up with those 13 million people really quick if we just started doing the math. Anybody want to contribute to the numbers of murdered people by American regime? Go ahead. We've got up to 87 million. That includes 80 million indigenous when we moved here, 6 million African American slaves, 1 million Iraqis. Now I'm up to 87 million. Let's see if we can get it to 100. Anybody else want to help out with those numbers? Let me know. I'm looking at you, Indie Left Out News. And if Billy Ballantyne shows up, he might help with that too. If USA isn't number one, who is better? Says Randy with 2 question marks. It would be the free country that doesn't go around and impose their imperialism on other people and murder a million Iraqis, Randy Simons. Go look it up. You'll find plenty of countries that don't practice imperialism. Plenty. World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. Yes, but that was war. And I'm not trying to just pile bodies on IndieLeft.news. That's not fair, is it? We didn't start those wars, did we? Come on, Indy. I thought we kept things real here, bro. Yemen. Now you're making sense. Oh, now you're making sense. Yemen. Lebanon. Oh, now you're making sense. Those countries never attacked the United States. Now you're making sense. Thank you. The world makes me sick. Stephanie, we haven't even begun. We haven't even begun. So I just laid the groundwork for a video that I'm going to show you that is not shocking. It's basically what you would expect out of the Republican Party here in the United States. But I have a feeling that you guys are going to be able to walk away with this and get something out of it. Get something that you'll be able to use that will help you. Now, I'm just going to give you the context for that right now. If you have children that are going to a school, this affects you and affects your kids. Okay? If you have children, relatives, it affects them. If you have neighbors with kids, it affects them. Any children that are attending school in this country. So if you have any kind of love, as I do, for kids in the United States, as I do, then this concerns you. You might be like 80-year-old man, your kids are all grown up, your grandkids are grown up, whatever. Well, maybe you got a next door neighbor who just had some kids. You know, maybe you like kids or whatever. Check this shit out. I know you guys are just so excited to see Republicans talk to you right now. So let me just tell you this. There's a reason I'm showing you this. I know that you guys don't get into politics. I want to bring some people in today that do, that are interested in critical race theory, that are interested in what's going on with what's going on between critical race theory and the Republicans and your children. The truth and fiction, facts and lies. And if that kind of shit concerns you when it involves your children, then you're going to want to watch this show. I don't care how boring you think this is. You're going to want to listen to this. You're going to want to get on board. And you people that don't, you know, he's going to talk about politics. You really should decide to play ball today. I'm just telling you. You really should. This one's important. And as these moronic Republicans keep saying, important. Hey, man, that's not the word. It's not important. It's important. It's a T. It's not a D, you fucking idiots. Important. They sound like morons. But anyway, who says important? All of these morons say important. There's no D in the word important. Why are they saying important? They don't even know how to say their own language. It's fucking psychotic. But I've digressed so far. Hold on. You're going to love this.
Most prosperous country in the world. For this, I owe eternal gratitude to my parents. Because after Fidel Castro's murderous revolution, my parents had to leave with $5 in their pocket. That was a heart-wrenching choice, because they knew what the word socialism and communism meant. Since then, the regime has claimed they have created a system of equality with free housing, and free food, and free education, and free everything. It's pure propaganda. The only equality communism offers, it's being equally poor, equally hungry, equally oppressed, and equally exiled. The truth is communism is a cancer, and it has devastated not only Cuba, but Venezuela, North Korea, China, Russia. The medical...
Here's funny. Just take the word communism and replace it with the word capitalism. And all the countries she just named that were ruined by communism, replace them with all the countries that IndependentLeft.news just named, like Yemen, Iraq, Syria, Somalia, right? just switch the words around, and all of a sudden she makes sense. That's close to critical race theory. It's attacking American imperialism, and that's part of critical race theory. It attacks American imperialism because American imperialism is just like a bully, right? That's like 21 years old that goes to a fucking nursery school and beats up all the little kids and then goes, I'm great. And then morons, his friends, all going, yeah, you're great, man. That's American imperialism right there.
Supplies are non-existent, the supermarkets are empty, the homes are collapsing around the people that live in them, the doctors in Cuba, the doctors and the engineers and the nurses, they're not...
This, Stephanie Sanchez, this is Representative Salad Bar from the great state of Florida. Salad Bar from Florida. This is Representative Salad Bar. Extra cheese on that salad bar. Oh, I'm sorry, am I saying her name wrong? I think it's Salazar, but I like Salad Bar better.
Now, taxi drivers, hotel staff, because the tourist dollars pay a lot more in one day than the government jobs pays in 1 month. So that is communism in action.
IndieLeft.news, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, because we destabilized those countries they had help. Capitalism has never allowed any other system to thrive, right?
So why are we here today? And I once again thank all of you for being here with us. We're here because we have an important mission. We have to educate our students, our future generations, the leaders of tomorrow, about the true meaning of communism. And that is...
So, because communism is such a threat to the United States from within. We're still at war with Russia, according to all these dinosaurs. And they want us to be at war. They want to teach the children to disagree with communism to the point that you're ready to go to war with them so we can continue the war machine. As long as they can make the kids hate communists and hate communism, then they can keep going to war and keep fucking profiting off of it. Shall enjoy the whole show. Good freaking article. Good.
It's precisely what this bill that I'm going to be introducing today with 60 other members of Congress. This is called Crucial Communism Teaching Act, or the CCT. And what?
She said 60 other members of Congress. That includes Democrats, folks. And that should scare the fuck out of you. That should scare the absolute fuck out of you. 60 members. If she's not lying about that number, then this bill's gonna fucking pass. And that should fucking frighten the fuck out of you. And you don't know what the bill is, but you're going to hear about it. So just wait.
What is this going to do? They are going to show the principles of freedom, opportunity, and democracy. Because unfortunately today, we're seeing an alarming shift in our national conscience. I'm not sure if you know that 1/3 of the Gen Z, or my two kids belong to the Gen Z, those are young adults, have a favorable view of communism. 33%. And over 40% of the millennials, which are the ones that came before Gen Z, say they don't know much about Marxism or what it looks like. Well, let me tell you what it looks like. Over 100 million people worldwide have died of the brutal regimes, the brutal practices of the communist regime. As I said, Russia, North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba, now Nicaragua, and
right, so we've killed about as many people under democracy, under capitalism. We're about the same. We're just about even. So when she uses the amount of people who died under communism regime as some kind of a gotcha, like, oh, look how many people have died. Well, it's not a gotcha because we've murdered almost exactly as many people. So it's not even a legitimate point to win the argument with, to say that, oh, look how many people have died under. Well, look how many people have died under American imperialism. Right, Indy? Right? Kristen, hello, good morning. Lobbying to Congress to military to defense contractors, $500 billion this year alone. Let's keep going.
Colombia, if Gustavo Petro wins the presidency. As I said, as the daughter of Cuban exiles, I'm proud to introduce this bill. This legislation will build a school curriculum to teach our future generations the true meaning of...
She hears say social, I'm sorry. Social, I'm sorry. I'm not going to replay that over and over again, but it was funny. She accidentally said social. This resolution will build a social, I'm sorry.
Communism. So that the future generations will understand and learn what this tragic reality looks like. History has shown that communism has no place in the United States. This is an indispensable lesson, and this is why I am proud to champion with all of them this important bill.
The purpose of this bill, Josh, is to give the actual purpose of this is that critical race theory makes Republicans' penises really small. It makes their dick shrivel up that big. Critical race theory. So this is their acting out against it. It's so fucking cute. It's so hilarious. They've come up with a bill to combat critical race theory. And this one is called Crucial Communism Teaching Act, right? So instead of them having this gives the Republicans something to jump on board with to combat. This is just creating more division. So this is what Republicans do. They come up with an idea similar to what the Democrats came up with that combats it, and they push it down our throats, and they try to win, their side over so that your children don't get educated on the horrors of American imperialism. How dare you tell kids the truth about American history? How dare you tell them that we murdered 80 million people so that we could call this country our own? How dare you be honest with the children? They want to indoctrinate. They want to lie. They want to, like my father said, you don't want to give them the whole truth? You're a fucking liar. Everybody standing on that screen right there wants to be a fucking liar to your kids. Like my father said, they don't want to tell you the whole story. They don't, these people were bad, but no, American imperialism is great. But these people were bad, but American imperialism is great. Well, you're not being honest, so you're a fucking liar. According to my father, you're a fucking liar, and he's right. He's got that shit right. My father's right about that. You're not going to give the whole story, you're a fucking liar. So every one of these cunts on screen right here is a fucking shit liar. And they want to lie to your kids, and that should piss you the fuck off. You're like, wait, what? They're not lying about communism. No, they just don't want your kids to hear the whole story. They want to obfuscate. They want to block critical race theory. That's the lying part. They're not saying they're lying about communism. Yeah, communism's killed a shitload of people too. Check this out. It's crazy, right? Communism's killed 100 million. We've got American imperialism, capitalism. It's killed 87 million. That's 187 million. That's 187 million people total. You'd think at some point we'd go, hey, maybe the systems of governments are the problem. No, let's just slap another form of government in there. We'll be fine.
This is not what America stands for. And I'm calling on my colleagues to join me today to educate our children, our future generations, and to preserve our core values. But not only the colleagues in the Republican Party, I am calling my colleagues in the Democratic Party to join this bill and to help us pass this school curriculum all over the country so our kids could really know what my parents had to go through. I thank you, all of you. We'll get some bites later, but let me allow for some of my colleagues to speak to you as well. Ambassador Andrew Breinberg is next. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll get to that, brother.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Breinberg, and I'm the president of the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. VOC is a nonpartisan organization that was chartered by Congress.
He runs an organization called the Victims of Communism. Hey man, what about all those victims of capitalism? There's a lot of Americans who've been victims of capitalism. Go turn on a Twitter space, man. You'll hear thousands of them every day talking about how shitty their lives are because they live under capitalism and they're miserable and they fucking hate it. And they hate it so much that they're looking at communism as an alternative, man, for relief. Just so they can get food on their tables, if they even have a table to put food on. Hey man, I'm not here to defend communism at all. I'm here to defend the truth. And I'm here to say that we're supposed to have conversations about this sort of thing. What they're talking about doing would be okay if they also supported CRT. And I would support this if they also supported CRT. But they don't. They want this to replace CRT. And that's what makes it a lie. They only want you to hear. Why are they talking so fast? Because I've got it on fast, so you don't have to sit here as long listening to them. And because what they're saying is not important at all. Important at all.
3, and signed by President Clinton, to memorialize and educate Americans about the victims of communism. We were pleased to commemorate and dedicate a national memorial to all 100 million victims of communism in 2007. And next year, we will be opening the first Victims of Communism Museum here in Washington, D.C.
Because the biggest threat to America, it's not climate change, it's not COVID, it's not the pandemic. No. It's communists. It's people in another country that have a different form of government. That's what's threatening us.
I
Hey,
want to thank Representative Salas.
and if you disagree, just ask Rachel Maddow. She'll tell you how bad Russia is threatening the United States right now. They want to take away our elections. They want to take away our liberties.
Salazar for her leadership and all the wonderful members of Congress who have co-sponsored this important bill, and we'd like to urge all members of Congress to pass this legislation. Over the past century, communist totalitarian regimes in some 40 nations have
Important.
killed more than 100 million people and subjected countless more to exploitation, violence, and untold devastation. These
Richard
victims were shot
Austin,
dead
hello.
in the Bolshevik Revolution. They were starved in the Holodomor, Ukraine famine. They were worked to death in the Soviet gulags. They were exiled to Siberia in the Baltic deportations. They were executed on Cuba's Isle of Pines. And they've been beaten to death under China's Cultural Revolution. They drowned fleeing Vietnam, and their bones littered Cambodia in the desolate killing fields.
Look at the lady behind him
Although the
nodding.
Berlin Wall fell and the Soviet Union collapsed,
It's true.
1/5 of the world's
true.
population today is still suffering under communism.
It's true. They did horrible things. It's true. You're spot on. Thank you, Matthew Rolland. The enemy is always someone else, not their own ability to cognitively reason and analyze the current system. Wow, Matthew, I agree. Matthew Rolland, I don't know who you are, but I love you. Thank you for being here. I don't know who you are, but I wish you would come to my show more often and speak like you just did.
Communist regimes.
You know, my old audience members, it's like they have decayed and they don't participate and they don't talk, they don't chat, they don't find anything like this interesting at all. You know, they see that I'm talking about this and they'll go watch fucking cartoons. They'll turn me off and they'll go watch fucking cartoons. You know? You keep me updated on the cannabis stuff in Australia. Oh, okay, Matthew, right on. Yeah, I know who you are now. I just wish you'd show up to my live streams more often. I wish more people like you would show up to my live streams more often and start making sense and start participating and let me know how you think about this shit. You're a lobbyist in Australia. Oh, nice, buddy. Hell yeah.
In Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, the horrors of socialism and communism continue. And today you will hear firsthand witness accounts of those who have been tortured and abused by these regimes. In China.
Okay, so you want to go to Afghanistan and go ask those 12 people that we bombed when we were leaving Afghanistan, the horrors, the nightmares of them sleeping in their beds and having bombs explode in their fucking living room, and lost 12 people, and most of them were children. I think, what was it, 8 kids got killed in that? Joe bombing Biden just happened a few months ago. Yeah, why don't you talk about that, you fucking cunts? Your critical race theory would probably cover that. You know, American imperialism would probably be covered under that.
The Chinese Communist Party is committing genocide against Uyghur Muslims and other religious and ethnic minorities. Up to 3 million Uyghur Muslims are today, in the 21st century, held captive in concentration camps. A majority of Uyghur women.
Matthew Rollins says, or when the United States bombs hospitals in Syria, etc. Yeah, which we've done recently. Schools, hospitals. Yeah, innocent people driving their families down the road. Yeah, we love to drone bomb those people too. Oops, wrong one. Mainstream media won't report on it. Oops, we killed some people. Oh, mainstream media won't report on it. This is a giant blind spot that you guys need to know about, okay? And they want your children to not know about the horrors that we produce around the world. By, you know, if you're teaching them all about Russia and how bad Russians are all the time, there's no time to teach them about how we killed the indigenous and shipped African Americans here from Africa and murdered 5 million of them in slavery. They don't want to talk about that. It's funny how they're like, oh, years ago. But then when you talk about what we did, oh, that was so long ago. That's his ancient history. Oh, okay.
Are being forcibly sterilized.
When's the cutoff for that exactly? When's the cutoff for ancient history? I'm just kind of wondering.
Men are being forced into modern day slavery. Yet the majority of young Americans simply do
Nick
not
Brown,
know
hello, good
the
morning.
history of communist regimes, those both past and present. They don't know. the
See how
simple
slow that
fact
motherfucker's
100
talking?
million people have been victims
You
of
wonder why I got it
or
sped
know
up?
about the destruction and deaths it has wrought. So it's understandable why some young people think they're sporting a cool t-shirt with Che Guevara thinking he's a hero, when in fact, he was a violent murderer. According to one of our recent polls, 1 in 3
That's
millennials
crazy,
view
Matthew.
communism as favorable. That is why this crucial Communism Teaching Act is so important. Americans must learn about the crimes of communist regimes and about the legacy of those champions of freedom who have resisted and defeated communist tyranny.
Kristen, I love you, but honey, you're not one of my old followers. You are not one of the people I was talking about. You're one of my new viewers, actually. I'm talking about people who've been watching me for years. Years and years. None of them will come to a show like this. Ever. It's new people that come in and want to, increase their intelligence. My old audience members, man, you don't want to be grouped in with those people, man. Trust
The
me.
introduction of this bill today follows the success we've already had.
My
in the
new
state of
audience
Florida,
is way
where Governor
better.
DeSantis signed the Portraits in Patriotism bill that requires all Florida high schools to educate their students about communism. And we will continue to work across all 50 states to ensure that all young Americans are taught the truth about the victims of communism. Thank you again for having me today. Thank you for your leadership on this important bill. Thank you.
Hey, man, great speech. We already heard about it. Why do we need a class about it? You just said it. Okay, they killed 100 million. Why don't you talk about the 87 million that America killed? Why? Is 13 million really that much of a difference between the two numbers? 87 million, 100 million. I don't know. Waterloo Bay Massacre. Thank you, bro.
Now, I'm going to give the opportunity to Representative Crenshaw. Wonderful to have you here. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you all for being here.
Oh, God, not this one. Oh, God.
1984,
Hate this
the man named Jeremy
motherfucker.
President. He gave an interview to G. Edward Griffin. It was titled "Deception Was My Job." It detailed his time as a KGB officer for the Soviet Union, and what he had to say was shocking. He revealed that 85% of the KGB's budget was allocated for the purpose of undermining our political system through information warfare.
Okay.
Not the cool spy stuff you see on TV, but information warfare, using our free society against itself to amplify divisions, undermine faith in our economic and our political system, and amplify the useful idiots on our own side who want to destroy our country.
Now, isn't that funny? Because that's exactly what America does in other countries when we want to disrupt their political system. The exact same techniques, the exact same subversion. But they only want to teach you that Russians do this to us, but we've never done this to another country before. Never! They don't want you to know that literally that's what the CIA is there for, guys. Subverting foreign governments. And that's what we've been doing for a long, long time. The Russians had fantastic teachers. It was the United States.
I don't think the Soviets ever imagined how successful they'd actually be.
Yeah, they did, because they had the United States as an example to follow.
Marxist-infused radicalism of the 60s to the critical race theory trends of today, I don't think the Soviets could have imagined a better ally than the Democrat Socialists of America today, some of which currently serve in our Congress, some of which currently teach our children, or perform for millions on television, or currently run major corporations. And so it's no wonder that a recent survey of millennials found that 36% have a favorable view of communism. 70% say they would actually vote for a socialist. And it's no wonder that the murderous Cuban and Venezuelan regimes find sympathy in the American...
Hey, let me give you some advice then, bro. Do you want the kids of today to start respecting your level of government, your form of government, United States imperialism, and all that shit? Start telling them the truth. You'd be surprised how much more attention and respect you'd get from people if you just start telling the truth. And by telling the truth, I mean by giving all sides of every story, instead of cherry-picking the facts that only bolster what you think. When that happens, let me know, and you'll get more support from people.
population, because our citizens have been lied to for generations about the dangers of communism and told that the American system is built on lies and racism. So they become socialists, because they've been conditioned that way. In the halls of Congress and on the campaign trail and in academia, we hear flirtations with socialism. Real socialism has never been tried, they say. They leave out the part where socialist equality is equality in misery and deprivation, nothing else. They leave out the part where the utopia they...
This motherfucking douchebag, he's always saying how horrible... I lost my train of thought there for a second. Give me a second here. Let me catch back. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I think I want to go back. Let me just hear what he said again.
Real socialism has never been tried.
Oh, yeah, socialism. Yeah. Motherfuckers like that always want to call out socialism, but they never say, oh, by the way, we've got a bunch of socialist programs here in the United States that we use and that we love, that we embrace. So he's literally saying, it's like he's standing there going, guys with eye patches are child molesters. And you shouldn't trust them at all. It's literally what he's doing. Hey, bro, I got news for you. You're a socialist, motherfucker. You get your United States Postal Service? Didn't you serve in the Socialist United States fucking army? You idiot. Where'd you get your eye patch from? A socialist program. You fucking dirty ass socialist cunt bitch. Lying motherfucker. He's a socialist. He lives in America. We're using socialist programs here. All these fuckers are psychotic. It's like sitting there telling you, hey, democracy is evil. Democracy is evil. Dude, you live in a socialist democracy, you idiot. While you sit there and say socialism is bad, you're literally benefiting from the very form of government that you act like you call out. You morons. You fucking morons.
For a socialist. And it's no wonder that the murderous Cuban and Venezuelan regimes find sympathy in the American population, because our citizens have been lied to for generations about the dangers of communism and told that the American system is built on lies and racism. So they become socialists, because they've been conditioned that way. In halls of Congress and on the campaign trail and in academia, we hear flirtations with socialism. Real socialism has never been tried, they say. They leave out the part where socialist equality is equality in misery and deprivation, nothing else.
Well,
they leave out the part where the utopia they seek
look,
must be paid for in blood and death in the tens of millions. Our children don't know these horrors because they...
Let's just say he's got, you know... I don't like to make fun of somebody for a physical impairment. But I'll say this. He is fucking half-brained. I will fucking say that about him. He is a fucking half-brained. And Joe Rogan is a cunt for ever having this fucking cunt on his fucking show.
We've never been taught, so we must change that. American students should learn about the Soviet gulags in Holodomor, where Stalin purposely starved 3.5 million Ukrainians. They should learn about Mao's Great Leap Forward and Cultural Revolution that killed tens of millions of Chinese.
Roger, let me tell you something, man. It was easy to cut off. You know who inspired the beard? It was Token Daily. And he was live about a month ago, and I went into his live stream. He was like, hey, Nate. I was like, hey, what's up, bro? Good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And then I typed in, I wanted you to know I grew my beard out. You inspired me. And he just fucking ignored me. And I was like, wow, dude. I mean, he totally read it. I saw him read it, and he just didn't read it out loud. And I was like, wow, man. And I was like, I don't give a fuck about this beard anymore. Fuck this beard. I did it as a tribute to him, man. He inspired me to do it. Seriously, it's true. And I was like, I want a long beard like Token Daily. Oh, you almost cut yours off? Right on. I was feeling so old, and people weren't making eye contact with me. People are weird, man. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's the long hair in addition to the beard, you know, but people were scared of me or what? I don't know, man. As soon as I cut the beard off, man, everybody wants to say, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, you seem so nice. Oh, nice to see you. Mutton chops. Socializing. We're saying nice things to each other. But getting back on track with this, I just want to say, pay attention to what they're saying. This is them being butthurt about critical race theory. This is them being butthurt about them being called out on American history and American imperialism and capitalism and everything wrong with this country that they don't want their own children to know. And you're going to hear these cunts talk about their own children here in a minute. I already watched this. They're going to tell you about their own children coming home from school, telling them that they're not so, they're kind of interested in communism and learning about it, and how shocked these motherfuckers are and how unwilling they are to tell their children the truth about anything. They just want to completely lie. Hey, they've been taught you lie to your children when they're born. You tell them Santa Claus. So lying to your children is what we're supposed to do. You're supposed to indoctrinate people. That's what Jesus and Christianity wants. Yeah, that's how great religion is. It teaches us to lie. It teaches us that lying is okay. Just the premise of religion is a fucking lie. Oh, you're pleasing a god. That's a fucking lie. Right off the bat. You're taught to lie from the very beginning of your life. You are taught to lie. These motherfuckers are so comfortable with their lying. They're finding all kinds of ways to lie. Hey, let's get rid of critical race theory. Let's get rid of half of the truth and only tell you about the bad that other people do.
They should learn about the modern-day slavery happening
Cheers.
in China right now with the Uyghur Muslims. They should learn about the Cambodian killing fields, the brutality of the East German Stasi, and the plight of the people suffering in North Korea for the last 70 years. Students should know that their classmate, wearing a cool Che Guevara t-shirt, is not being sheep. They're actually idolizing and promoting a mass murderer who also happened to be a racist and a homophobe. These are inconvenient truths, but they are truths. And we need to provide American schools with the tools they need.
Did a Republican just call somebody else a homophobe? That's hilarious and that's rich.
To get, and the parents, the tools they need to give their kids an alternative to Marxist indoctrination and ideology that's currently being taught. America's parents deserve to have a say in what their children learn in school. And I believe parents would rather have their children learn to love America and hate communism than the other way around. That's what this bill does.
Thank you, Kristen.
Ensures students
You
know
made
the
me
lessons of
smile.
history so that our next generation does not repeat them. We will ensure that communism remains in the trash heap of history. Thank you.
Excellent. Now we're going to
Oh. I never looked at it that way. Matthew, he says, beards are a sign of masculinity and people are intimidated by masculinity today. And yeah, I've noticed that. People are anti-male. Anti-white male. Here. Check this out. There's nothing more frightening today than an angry white man. That was a headline on CNN about a week ago. Matthew, you nailed it. You nailed it. There's nothing more frightening today than an angry white man. Anybody who would say something that stupid has never seen an angry black woman before. And let me tell you something. An angry black woman makes an angry white man's penis shrivel up that big. CNN doesn't know dick about anger. Now let me tell you something. I know a little something about anger. I feign it every day on this show 3 times a day. And I think I know anger when I see it. I'm pretty good at recognizing it. Mostly when you see an angry white man, that's more just a butthurt white man that's crying like a little bitch. I think black women exude anger better than anybody else on the planet. And if you ever fuck with a woman, an African American woman, and she knows that you fucked with her, you're a dead man. Look, this isn't racist or anything like that. I'm just saying. I know from firsthand experience. You don't want to even go there. And CNN, you want to get racist with me, motherfucker? Okay, well, I'll be honest with you. This ain't shit. This is a fucking joke. And, when some white privileged dude like me is angry, we're not really. We're just, we're screaming out for attention. We're sick of being ignored. We're little babies. And we need to be coddled. And we need attention. And we're fucking pussies. This isn't even really a thing. This is hilarious. Fuckers at CNN don't even know fucking anger. Oh, you want to say, psychotic white man? Oh, well, that's different. You know, a psychotic white man with access to guns. Yeah. But angry? Fuck. You don't know fucking anger. You have no idea what angry is. CNN doesn't know what anger is. Fucking keep goddamn Chris Cuomo around for a fucking year. And you act like you know what anger is. Anyhow, yeah, we're surrounded by fucking racism. We're completely surrounded by it. It's everywhere. CNN pushes it down our throats. And, these motherfuckers right here want to act like it doesn't even exist. I'm getting so sick of this whole black-white thing, man. I'm getting so fucking... On Twitter. You have no idea. I'm getting so fucking sick of it. Why white people so this and white people that and white people fucking white. And I'm like... Man, you ain't seen angry white men yet. But keep it up. Keep it up, Twitter Spaces. Keep it up. And I have a feeling that when enough white men hear the kind of shit that you motherfuckers talk behind their backs, you're going to find out. I'm not threatening. Not me. I've heard the rhetoric, though, and I know the white men. And I'm here to tell you, we're about to see, as soon as this shit gets out, man, I'm telling you, I shouldn't even be talking about it. I shouldn't even talk about it on here. Let's move on.
Here's the bottom line. What I think you're going to hear from Representative Salazar and so many of us here is that communism kills. Communism has killed more than any other ideology in world history. Communism has killed more than fascism. Communism has killed more than imperialism, more than any other form of government. Communism has killed, and...
He said imperialism. Huh. That's not true. American imperialism. I wouldn't be surprised if we killed more people. I wonder how many people have died of hunger in our country. Huh. How many people die of hunger? You know, how many people die from lack of medical care in the United States every year? So then you take that over the years, you add those numbers up, and you see if we get to 100 million. I guarantee you, we do. Critical race theory, like the TV. CRT is critical race theory. I don't know what you're talking about.
Communism, in order for it to work, has to lead to authoritarianism. It has to, and it always has, and it always will. And whenever we have a segment of society that learns through blood, and through...
I mean, we basically got authoritarianism here in the United States. It's just a group of them. It's a small group, like 200, 300 people, but they're the authoritarian. You know, and for him to claim that the United States is not authoritarianism, he's fucking delusional.
Authoritarianism, that no matter how hard they work, no matter how hard they sacrifice, what they risk, no matter what...
IndieLeft.news. Would it be possible for you to find out roughly, quickly, total number of deaths imposed by American imperialism or American lack of, you know, giving their citizens proper protections? Would you say we're already up to 87 million provable? Could you get us the other 13 million? And get me to at least even with communism? That would really prove my fucking point. But 13 million, that ain't nothing when you're talking about 87 million people dead. You know? Oh, a CRT is an old school monitor?
But they do.
I should have known that.
That government will take from them. And then you have another segment of society that learns that no matter how little they work, government will give to them. That is the death of freedom. And that's what happens under communism, because at the end of the day, you must have an authoritarian regime to decide who those winners are and who those losers are. And gee, it should be no surprise that that authoritarian regime...
Picking winners and losers. You mean like corporations versus the poor? Like billionaires versus the poor? Is that like picking winners and losers? The hypocrisy. The hypocrisy. Now, they don't want to teach you about that. They just want to teach you that that happens elsewhere. Picking winners and losers. They don't want to teach you that that happens here in the United States.
always, throughout history, and always will, puts themselves first as the winners. And that's why in every communist regime, you see the regime enriching itself before the people that they're supposed to serve. Look, I think this bill is long overdue. I applaud you for it. Many of us who grew up in the Cold War learned and understood the threat that communism was. And since the end of that Cold War, I think that has really waned in our society and certainly in our schools. But now we are in...
Swirler. Are you going to stay and watch my show, Swirler? Or are you just going to snipe chat? Dude, I'm having such a hard time getting people to stay and watch this show. I don't know why. But if you'd stay, I'd appreciate it because that makes a lot of sense. Yes, Native Americans can tell you how the government eradicated Native Americans during the Trail of Tears. Yes. Yes. How many deaths were Americans responsible for?
in a new Cold War with a new communist regime in the Chinese Communist Party. And we need to wake up to the threat that it is.
You watch my videos? Well, I want you to participate and stay and watch the live stream. Mostly. Because I don't have people that come in here and talk. For the most part. The chat is very stagnant. There's no one here today. I can't believe this says there's 10 people watching. I'm refreshing the chat. You're going to do a Google search? Huh. Indy, come on, bro. You don't really think that you're going to do a Google search and find the answer to that question, you know? It's like, it's like, oh, let me search the web for you. They never will actually tell you the number, you know, when you search Google for something like that. And that should be totally Googleable. That number should be totally Googleable. You should just be able to say how many deaths total under American imperialism throughout history. Boom, the number should come right up. The fact that it doesn't means that I should write a fucking book. I should write a book on that. What? Has no one ever totaled that up before? Well, if they have, and if they've written a book about it, why doesn't the information come up on a Google search? Well, when you're done laughing, if you're laughing, when you're done laughing, see if you can give me this 13 million. You know, we could just say why the fucking Google search won't say shit. Nay's Garden. It showed you total deaths under communism. Right? Oh my God. Oh God, that pisses me. You just made me so mad right now, Indy left. Oh my God, I just got so fucking angry. Oh, dude. I just lost my shit. Oh my God, my brain just broke inside my skull, everybody. From what IndyLeft.news just told me. He said, actually, it showed me total deaths under communism. Wars, did we start that war? Only if we started a war. Only if we started a war. We can't include the numbers unless we started the war. But if 13 million people have died due to healthcare, a lack of healthcare in the United States over the history of this country, that would do it. That would equal and prove, I mean, we're already there, right? I mean, both should be spoken about, of course. I have no problem discussing communism and socialism and the deaths. I'd love to learn about all of that shit. I think when they start teaching about communism and socialism in schools, more and more people are going to be interested in it. They're going to be like, well, yeah, let's just not kill each other. Let's just not lock people up for different opinions. But some of these programs seem really good. Well, the United States has already adopted those programs, and these assholes don't want to admit it. Bernie Sanders is the first person to stand there and tell you, okay, let me tell you, socialism is very prevalent here in the United States. I've made sure of that. We've got a lot of socialist programs. We've got the United States Postal Service. They're constantly making sure they're giving jobs to everybody. They're making sure your mail is arriving on time. They're not doing a very good job now, but under the Donald Trump administration, we definitely had some issues. But you know, if you had elected me instead of that stupid Biden, my very good friend Joe Biden, who I love very much. I meant to say, socialism has very positive. There's good things to say about socialism. The fact is, the United States military, which is, what is it, the single largest fucking, it's the largest creator of CO2. It's like the largest program probably in the United States, or probably, I would think. It definitely takes the most money. How about that? It's the most expensive program. Socialist. 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 The very military that a lot of these guys served in. Socialist. And they don't even know it.
Green Beret. The Green Berets were founded under John F. Kennedy. He knew that there would be groups of freedom fighters around the world that needed our help. The motto...
Right, but Indy Left Out News, the point was to start working in that direction. You know, and then you get, you know, an Amy Klobuchar or someone younger to take his place, who's working with him, you know, who you can trust, that can take the reins and keep pushing for these things. But, you know, we weren't naive, bro. We got beat by the Democrats. We got beat by Hillary Clinton machine. That's all. You know, the Debbie Wasserman Schultzes and Donna Braziers, you know, all of those fucking dumb cunt bitches, you know, to make sure that this cunt fucking Joe Biden gets in and this cunt Kamala Harris gets in instead of Bernie. This is, a lot of this is on them.
Of the Green Berets is Deo Presso Libere, to free the oppressed.
But we're
And
so
whether that was
far
in
past
Yugoslavia,
that now, aren't
whether
we?
that was in South and Central America.
I need another
everywhere
cup of
communism
Cafe.
thrived, we had leadership in this city, we had leadership in the White House that committed Americans in uniform to go help those freedom fighters. But the fight starts here. And as Representative Crenshaw said, we talk a lot these days about what's taught in our schools, about having a clear eye and clear teaching of history, whether it's a plight of Native Americans or racism or slavery. And we need that same clear-eyed approach to the history of communism and the threat that it is. And I'm proud to support you. I thank you for your leadership.
He just
and we will
fucking
continue this
totally
fight.
threw Crenshaw under the bus.
Number two.
He said a clear eye. He said Crenshaw, then he says an eye.
Thank you, Representative Walsh, and I want to thank Representative Salazar for putting this together and for sponsoring this legislation. Let's not lose sight of the fact that it's someone whose family suffered under communism who is the lead sponsor of this legislation. That is significant. That should be noted. Folks, I'm a father of 3 sons. I'm the grandfather of 6 grandchildren. What our children think, what they learn is important. It's important to me. Today's youth, they're not fearful of communism. They look upon communism favorably. Now, who's to blame for that? Our teaching, that's to blame for it. Our media is to blame for it. Ultimately, all of us are to blame for it. And all of us have the inherent responsibility of making sure that this doesn't happen.
I think this is the important guy.
Making sure that they understand.
Let's not lose sight. Yeah, he said let's not lose sight, but he mentioned Crenshaw and he said we need a clear eye. He's mentioned what Crenshaw said earlier. We need a clear eye on this. Oh my god, dude. Crenshaw must have fucking been cringing. Cringe-shaw. Fucking A, dude. This is a cringe fest.
I mean, you think about it now, about what's going on in China. We all know about the genocide that goes on there. We all know that they are
And just listen to this guy say important. Listen to this guy say important. Because he doesn't know how to speak.
suppressing their people over there. And yet we're fixing to come up on the Winter Olympics. And you can be assured that it will be glamorous. People will be tuned in to their TVs, watching all these great events. It will be a media spectacle, no question about it. But what's going on outside of that? What's going on in that country? That's what's important. It's important for us to make sure our children understand. That's why I'm proud. I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of this legislation. The Crucial Communism Teaching Act. This will help us to educate our children, to teach them that communism is not the answer, that here in America, we enjoy the freedoms of a free country. You think they're having a press conference like this in China now? And oh, by the way, what about the tennis player? I want to take this opportunity to applaud the Women's Tennis Association for what they're doing. We need to get to the bottom of this. Folks, this is serious. I know, another press conference. No, it's not another press conference. This is an important press conference. Extremely important. What's being done here is extremely important. Remember what Ronald Reagan said in his inaugural address. Freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation, for it comes only once to a people. Let's not fail this generation. Let's do our job. Let's be responsible. Thank you, Representative Salazar. I'm proud to stand by my colleagues here in support of this.
And I'm proud of all of you for standing here with us and saving our future generations. Now, Representative Miller Meeks, the tallest member in Congress.
Thank you so much, Maria. I'm Marionette Miller Meeks, and I represent Iowa's 2nd Congressional District in Congress. And I really would first like to thank my good friend, Congresswoman Salazar, for organizing today.
When she said the tallest member of Congress, wouldn't it have been great if she had patted her on her head when she said that?
Press conference and for incredible leadership on this extremely important issue.
Indy.
From the Vietnam era to the fall of
care.
the Soviet Union, I proudly served in the United States Army. I watched as communism spread across the world during the Cold War. From the Soviet Union and East
top of the
Germany
hour?
to China
Okay.
and Cuba,
Let me get a little
and
coffee in
every
me.
country in which communism has taken hold, it has seen the individual liberties of its citizens taken away, censoring free speech, restricting or banning religious liberty, and exerting total control over private industries, leaving their people in poverty and brutalized. For those who have seen the damage done by communism firsthand, we must never forget the millions who have suffered. And if you, like
All right,
I, have
Shorty.
toured college campuses or have had children at a college campus, they talk extensively and glowingly about the most important skill in a global economy is critical thinking. And we in our school system talk eloquently about the excesses and the demerits of capitalism, but we never talk about the excesses, the brutality, and the murder of communist regimes and why they have continued to fail. And if we're going to have critical thinking in our young adults and in our citizens, then they have to be taught both points of view.
So, did they pass some critical race theory legislation or something? Because she's talking like critical race theory is now the law of the land or something, and it should be. But do you hear how she's literally just admitted that this is a response to critical race theory? So, if you guys missed that, it's the most important point of all of this, I think.
About the excesses and the demerits of capitalism, but we never talk about the excesses, the brutality, and the murder of communist regimes and why they have continued to fail. And if we're going to have critical thinking in our young adults and in our citizens, then they have to be taught both points of view. And if we're going to have critical thinking in our young adults and in our citizens, then they have to be taught both points of view. And if we're going to have critical thinking in our young adults and in our citizens, then they have to be taught both points of view.
Do you hear what she's saying? I totally agree with her. Who can applaud Shorty with me? I'm not going to stand up because I want her to be able to see the applause. So I'll do it sitting down in honor of her. critical race theory, it's American history, Kristen. It's American history. We killed some folks. America's killed some folks. We've murdered millions of people in this country. Critical race theory teaches that, among other things. That we impose our imperialism around the world, that we enslaved some people, that we bomb Yemen, that we give our bombs to Saudi Arabia to bomb Yemen, that we bomb Somalia, that we murdered 1 million Iraqis, that we murdered 1 million African Americans in transporting them here. We murdered 5 million African American slaves on this soil. We murdered 80 million indigenous American natives on this soil. That's what critical race theory teaches. The truth. What she said right there, I totally agree with. Hey man, I support this bill if they support critical race theory. Yeah, let's teach it all. There's nothing wrong with being honest with people. Now, if they're saying no critical race theory, but instead this, well, no, fuck you. But what she just said, oh, I like that.
And it is the equitable and fair thing to do. Because if murder of communist regimes and why they have continued to fail. And if we're going to have critical thinking in our young adults and in our citizens, then they have to be taught both points of view. And it is the equitable and fair thing to do. Because if we in the United States do not stand, they have to be taught both points of view. They have to be taught both points of view. They have to be taught both points of view. They have to be taught both points of view. They have to be taught both points of view.
Look at the reactions. Only one guy's nodding.
They have to be taught both points of view. They have to be taught both points of view. They have to be taught both points of view. And they have to be
no one else is nodding.
They have to be
the woman is.
Points of view. And it is the equitable and fair thing to do. Because if we in the United States do
none of the other three guys on this side, I'm Ron Placoni. None of these three guys are nodding or agreeing. Watch.
And it is the equitable and fair thing to do. Because if we in the United States do not stand,
no
they
response.
Have to be taught both points of view. And it is the equitable and fair thing to do.
They don't want, those three guys realize what she's saying and they disagree. And they do not want both points of view taught in schools to yours or their children. What this little woman is saying right here, I totally agree with, and you should agree with that too. There's nothing wrong with crucial communism teaching when you're putting it right next to critical race theory, which is fine. Teach it all. What do you guys think? I agree with her. And you know what? I watched this video once, and I didn't get that the first time I watched this video. And I'm glad I sat and I watched it the second time. Because now I get it. I totally get it now. The guy over there in the suit and tie, the woman who's pushing this bill with the scarf on, salad bar shorty, I agree with them all three of them. So let's keep paying attention and see if anybody else says, yeah, we should give both critical race theory and crucial communism teaching equal attention in school.
Because if we in the United States do not stand for liberty,
hey,
for
Orca's here,
for competitiveness, for innovation, there is no place on the world, and I can tell you from traveling extensively in the military, as my colleagues have done, and personally, that there is no place in the world that these exist if we do not continue to be their champion. We must ensure that our next generation is well educated in the dangers of this radical ideology. I am proud to be an original co-sponsor of the Crucial Communism Teaching Act, and I thank everyone for being here today, and especially my colleague, Congresswoman Salazar.
Thanks to all of you once again. Thank you. Now, Representative...
She patted her! She's, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I want to echo the sentiments that have been expressed here by my colleagues, and just add a couple of things. I'm proud to support this.
Dude, I just watched Unhinged twice. And that was the guy who starred in the fucking movie. Now, the actor was Russell Crowe. He portrayed this dude right here. Did you see the movie? That's the guy. That's the guy with the fat suit on. Bro, oh my God. The second time you watch it, you can see right here on Russell Crowe's face, you could see this little fucking discoloration, just barely, and this bulge. And you could see that's where they put the fat on his face. Man, it's crazy he didn't gain weight for that fucking role, man. It's crazy. Oh, God, I love that fucking movie. Man, I watched it again last night. Oh, baby. I fast-forwarded through all the boring parts. And I just went through all the confrontational parts. It was fucking fantastic. Oh, fucking loved it. I love that movie. Unhinged. It's fantastic. This is opinion, so the student had a chance to use critical thinking skills.
This legislation, but the real travesty is the fact that it's necessary. The fact that we've gone 30 plus years and forgotten the brutalities of communism because when the wall came down, it was time to celebrate and we could look to the future. And unfortunately, we've forgotten the lessons of communism, and our children, now 30 years removed from that historic event, have forgotten about it. And you heard one of my colleagues mention how communism kills, and I agree with that. But communism it's not always a quick death. I was in Cuba a few years ago, had my taxi driver, I said, take me to the best grocery store in Havana. And I found out that the taxi driver was in fact a medical doctor. And he was driving a taxi to make a living. And that's how he earned his cash. Because being a medical doctor didn't pay. And he took me to the best grocery store in Havana.
And check this out. And nobody in the United States has to work 2 jobs. Ever. This guy's fucking delusional. He's as delusional as the guy in, Unhinged.
And I'm going to tell you, I would take my dog to that grocery store. This was the best one in Havana, and it was empty shelved, and what was there wasn't fit to feed our dogs. So communism kills, yes, but some of those that suffer under the communist regime, they die a slow and painful death. And so, as sad a statement as it is today, that we have to engage in legislation to teach things that we should already know, I'm proud to be a part of this legislation, and I support the leadership of my colleague Maria Salazar. Thank you.
And Representative Hill. Thanks.
French Hill, I represent the 2nd Congressional District in Arkansas. And I'm proud to stand here with my friend from Florida, Congresswoman Salazar, and Rasker.
Can I just say this? Dude, what the fuck are you wearing on your body? Oh my God. What the fuck is that suit? And why is he wearing it? And why is it fucking pinstriped? And why isn't he wearing a tie? And why isn't he the conductor for an orchestra? I've got so many questions about that jacket. Oh my God. And, you know, I love the way the little light behind him is like, it's like he does look like he's a drum major in a fucking band. Boom, boom, we're going down the street and he's the drum major. Follow him now. He's doing all the moves that the drum major does. Look at him go. He's got his baton and we are marching down the street. Boom, boom. Oh, look, there's a car. It's a crazy guy trying to run us over. Oh, it's Christmas time and we're having so much fun here with the guy who's the drum major. We're having some, what, too soon? Too soon? Okay, my bad.
Renberg, because this is an important day. Let me tell you why. Opening here in Washington,
Oh,
D.C.
fuck!
a museum for the
Oh,
victims of
fuck!
communism.
Dude, he does have a tie on. Why is he wearing an invisible glow-in-the-dark tie? That is my question. What is that tie, and why is it invisible?
Combined with this
Thank you,
legislation,
Matthew.
Make sure that our teachers and our kids have access to the facts.
I was like, that jacket does not look right without a tie on it, man. So fucking funny, bro. Holy shit. That is Fructis green. That is Garnier green right there, guys. That fucking tie. I mean, I've never seen anything more green than that fucking tie. That is Garnier green. That's what they call it. I don't know, man. Who wears a fucking Garnier green tie? This guy must be wrapped into some goddamn corporations.
Of the destruction of health, welfare.
Dude, that is so funny that I literally looked and did not see that tie. And I've got the monitor. It's a 22-inch monitor right here next to me that I'm looking at it on full screen. And I still didn't see that fucking tie. God, he must have just been standing looking right into the sun or something.
Mental health and physical health of these citizens living under these authoritarian communist dictatorships is the first step, and I hope not the last step, in ending the culture that we have in this country of Neville Chamberlain level abdication of education.
Neville Chamberlain.
That's what we've done. We've abdicated teaching these lessons. We've abdicated exposing our kids to this. And so, as somebody who, while people were being murdered in the Cultural Revolution in China, I was under my desk in my elementary school.
Wait, yeah, the parade shouldn't have happened so close to the verdict. It should have been moved to a different date and location, but Hunt said, yeah, this tie blended in too well. Why was that so accessible? Hey, Trini Orca. Hey, dude, it's a fucking pandemic, dude. God, man, what the fuck is wrong with you, Orca? That's what that fucking vigil in Oxford was so stupid. Did you see any masks there? We're fucking idiots. Dude, turn the TV on for once and go see what these motherfuckers are doing. And with you cheering them on, Orca. How's the coffee? Oh, it's good, Orca. Thanks for asking. It's really good. Now that I'm sitting here fucking screaming at you. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really give a shit about politics, but you make it genuinely... Zerty, that is my... Thank you, brother. That is my intention. Making the politics fun and listenable so you guys learn not only that, but you also get your own points of view and you share them. You share your points of view with other people. You interact with them. I'm putting you on my Twitter, bro. I can't believe you just fucking said that. You're the best person ever. You're on my A list right now, Zerty. God, thank you so much, Zerty. That's one of the nicest things that you could have possibly said to me. And I wish that I had someone archiving things like that when people say beautiful things like that, and I could make a list, and just put it out there for everyone to see all these beautiful things that you guys say to me from time to time.
Fearing a nuclear attack. While those millions of Chinese people were taken to camps in the Cultural Revolution and murdered, those of us at the same age in our country were under our desks fearing a nuclear attack from the Russian Soviet Union communist regime. I've been to East Berlin and West...
Orca, you can eat all of these politicians, but look, except for Shorty, because Shorty was right, bro. I totally agree with her. She may have fucked up. But she said teach both, bro. And she's got all those Republicans standing behind her when she said it. Teach both. That needs to be a fucking meme. Right? Where are we at? 2356. Remember, 2356.
They have to be taught both points of view.
How did I do that? How did I fucking do that? But that's it. That's your meme. And you say, Republicans want critical race theory taught. And it's right there. And dude, I unknowingly made that the title of this video. Do you know why I said that? I was calling it critical Russian theory. But no, she said you have to teach both. These Republicans are standing behind her, and that's your meme. Republicans supporting critical race theory along with critical communism theory. Great. You know, call it critical imperialism and critical communism, whatever you want. Zerdy, please consider hosting me on your Twitch channel. I would really appreciate that. She shall not be eaten, but can an orca toss her in the air like a seal? No, you can toss her in the air like a seal. I'd like to see that. Shorty? Yeah, you can toss her in the air like a seal. Just don't hurt her. I want to see her flail a little bit just because she's a fucking politician. But man, oh boy, did she slip up. 1955.
Adults and in our citizens, then they have to be taught both points of view. And it is the equitable and fair thing to do. Because if we in the United States do not stand adults and in our citizens, then they have to be taught both points of view. Both points of view. They have to be taught both points of view. Adults and in our citizens, then they have to be taught both points of view. And it is the equitable and fair thing to do. Because
that is your fucking meme. And you put the goddamn quote that she said, you put in parentheses, put critical race theory and critical communism theory. And then in quotes, put her quote that she just said. They have to be taught both points of view. With all of these guys got, none of them support critical race theory. None of those Republicans support critical race theory. I don't know who Shorty is, but oh boy. I don't know how she pulled that off. I'm at Nay's Garden, Zerty. At Nay's Garden. At Nay's Garden on Twitter. Not Nay's Garden Show, that's my other channel. I'm at Nay's Garden.
Because if we in the United States do not stand for liberty, for entrepreneurship, for competitiveness, for innovation, there is no place on the world, and I can tell you from traveling extensively in the military, as my colleagues have done, and personally, that there is no place in the world that these exist if we do not continue to be their champion. We must ensure that our next generation is well educated in the dangers of this radical ideology. I am proud to be an original co-sponsor of the Crucial Communism Teaching Act, and I thank everyone for being here today, and especially my colleague, Congresswoman Salazar.
Thanks to all of you once again.
Pat,
Thank
pat,
you.
pat.
Now Representative Crawford.
Okay. I said 23.
Thank you. I want to echo the sentiments that have been expressed here by my colleague.
23.
While people were being murdered in the Cultural Revolution in China, I was under my desk in my elementary school fearing a nuclear attack. While those millions of Chinese people were taken to camps in the Cultural Revolution and murdered,
Man, do you think kids have ever had to hide under their desks because America was bombing their school? Not even during wartime? I mean, he's you know, he's crying a river to you right now about the fact that he had to get on his knees as a child and hide under his desk from an attack that was never coming. He was never threatened. But he wants you to fucking feel sorry for him. Why? Because he got under a desk. And let me tell you something. The kids that got under the desks when we were bombing them, yeah, we killed those kids. We got those kids. America did. Iraq, Syria, you name it, man. You know, we're still doing it.
those of us at the same age in our country were under
We
our
just
desks
did it in
during the nuclear
Afghanistan.
attack from the Russian Soviet Union communist regime. I've been to East Berlin and West Berlin at the height of the Cold War. When you cross Checkpoint Charlie in 1986 and leave West Berlin, you went into the Twilight Zone. You went into a desolate, bombed out, nothing on the shelves, the people, the cars, the buildings. It was a movie set from the end of the world. Because in that 40 years...
You know why? Because in communist countries, socialist countries, it's very common for neighborhoods and for people to grow and harvest their own food, to raise their own food. Chickens, very common. People feed themselves in countries like that. A lot of the time, you're not going to see stores full of stuff because most people don't even bother to buy that shit. Because the shit they grow at home is healthier. You know, while he makes this point that, oh, my fucking rich ass couldn't find goddamn Hershey's chocolate bar and a Coca-Cola. Oh. Yeah, well, some woman down the street was cooking an entire rice and chicken meal for her entire family of 13, you know? That we were eventually going to go bomb, probably.
From 1945 to 1986, West Berlin became one of the most...
You guys, Billy Ballantyne came in and immediately noticed that the jacket was not fitting the guy. That was the first thing I said, Billy. I was like, oh my God, why is he wearing that thing? Why does it have pinstripes on it? I was looking at it, I was like, it looks like a goddamn... It looks like a circus tent, bro. He looks like he's wearing a fucking circus tent.
Extraordinary cities in the world with freedom, capitalism, opportunity.
I'll smoke to
just
that.
Across the barbed wire was destitution, poverty.
Happy 420, no law regarding cannabis. Cannabis isn't just for all
Our
cheers,
kids
everybody.
need to learn that lesson. They didn't have Solzhenitsyn, Whittaker Chambers, William F. Buckley that I had in my childhood. This bill changes that. This bill ends that abdication, and I thank my friend from Florida and all of our colleagues for the support.
Now, Representative Van Drew.
I first want to, like everybody else, commend Representative Salazar for doing this. This is of extreme importance, and I'll tell you why. We understand and we see the extremes of communism. We know what it's like to see the tanks rolling down in China. We know to see Russia build its arms and forces up at the border. We understand what they're doing. But what is also important, and is amazing, is that we even have to have this press conference. I am almost shocked that we have to have it, yet it is necessary.
I wish Indie Left Out News was still here. I wonder how many military bases Russia has around the planet. I wonder how many military bases China has around the planet. India. How many military bases, though, does the United States have around the planet? Yeah, what a fucking hypocrite, right?
To think only a short number of years ago, we would almost laugh at the idea that we have to have a press conference to explain to our young people that communism isn't good, that communism will destroy our country.
And I love that these guys are senators and representatives, and none of them had enough power to go get homie back there to shut his leaf blower off for fucking 45 minutes. Throughout the entire conference. You would think that one of them would send an aide over and say, hey, we're doing something congressional over here. The fucking leaf blowing can wait. What a bunch of cuck bitches. Yeah, just let the leaf blower guy blow the leaves. It's so important that he does that. It's important. It's important that he blows those leaves right now.
But that is where we are at. And there is a reason. Let's talk about the subtleties of what's happening to this country. We're taking the names of great men out of our cities and out of our towns. I was named after Thomas Jefferson. My name is Jefferson Van Drew. I named my son Jefferson Van Drew.
Look at Salad Bar behind him fucking nodding her stupid fucking Salad Bar sneeze guard head. So check this out. This motherfucker wants you to believe that what his personal experience is anecdotal personal experience outweighs educating people properly.
Jefferson was a great man. He was a product of his time, but he was still a...
He's talking about his own name. And he wants you to understand how he's been personally affected by this because he was named after that person. I was named after that person. Jefferson, and they're taking the busts down. This is my own anecdotal personal experience, and who cares? You guys, you want to educate? We want to talk about what about me? What about me? Listen to him. Me. Listen to this. Look at him. Look at this guy. And listen to him crying about his precious name, Jefferson.
A great man in New York City, they took his bust down. All across this country, we're taking the names of great leaders, of fighters for freedom, of individuals, men and women who bled and fought and stood for this country. We have people in Congress.
People who thought that war was the solution, that slavery was the solution. Oh, okay, yeah, let's put them up on a fucking pedestal. Okay, all right, Jefferson.
People in Congress who really don't believe in the American way, don't believe in American freedom, don't believe in American independence. It's subtle. It's not even that subtle anymore, to be honest with you. It's pretty obvious. So we see all this around us. We know that in universities, if you have a very pro-American stance or a conservative viewpoint, you probably won't get a chance to speak. You probably won't get to give a commencement address. Let's really tell it how it is. This country is at the precipice. We are on the edge. And this is a big piece of it. We are going to have to decide that either that we are the America that we know and love.
Billy said this guy looks like he killed a Muppet and wrapped the scarf that he stole from the Muppet around his...
Or that we're going to change.
You're killing me, Billy.
Many universities, many educational systems want us to change. And what we all are talking about is we're trying to make it clear to our children and our grandchildren that if we make this change, all the wonderful freedoms, all the greatness, the freedom to have your own faith, the freedom to do well in your own economy, the freedom to believe in whatever it is you want to accomplish in your life, and your freedom to raise your family the way you want to, and to say what you want to, and to do what you want to. You shouldn't take that for granted. Every time I go into a classroom or speak to a group, I speak about American exceptionalism. And American exceptionalism.
Sure you do.
America is
it's
better.
actually
it's
imperialism, not exceptionalism.
I will say to you right now, America is the greatest country this world has ever seen. It is the greatest country on the face, literally, of the earth. And we love Ronald Reagan, and one of his other great statements was, besides loss of freedom was only one generation away, he spoke about the shining city on the hill. So the bottom line, it's up to us. There's nobody else. It's up to all of you in media. It's up to me and all these good folks here that represent people in the United States Congress and in the United States Senate. It's up to parents. Parents call me up sometimes. They say, I'm upset. I don't even know what to do, the way the country is moving and what is happening. And I say, you know, one of the most important things you can do when your children or your grandchildren, when they come home, look at what they're learning. And if they're not learning about freedom, if they're not learning about what happened in Cuba, if they're not learning what happens in China, if they're not learning what's happened in North Korea, then you better make sure that you teach them. It is now our responsibility. Nobody else, every single one of you, it's in your hands. Take that responsibility and grasp it for all the men and women who died and bled and gave so much to this country, for the great leaders of the past, and I swear, I hope, the great leaders of the future. I thank you for doing this. God bless you.
It's my duty. Okay, very well said. Thank you very much. Representative Brockman.
Thank you. We stand here today. I'd like to thank Congresswoman Salazar for introducing this bill. In my opinion, as I go through all the bills we've talked about in Congress so far this session, this is the most important bill. And I say that because we've heard the statistics today of over 1/3 of the young people actually think socialism and maybe Marxism isn't that bad. And as somebody else here pointed out, a Soviet defector said that most of the KGB money spent in this country was spent to change America's view of itself. In other words, they were going to conquer this country, not with ships or tanks from abroad. They were going to conquer it from within. And when you see 30% of the population wanting or not understanding what is wrong with a country like Cuba, you realize we are losing that war. Every American child should know that communism is, they dislike the churches. They dislike God. The reason they don't like God is because they feel the churches create a moral background in which people will be reluctant to kill people if the government calls upon them to kill people. People have to know you restrict travel in communism. You restrict information. There are all sorts of people out there, which kind of have the heart of the communists we know right now today, who do want to restrict information, right? And our ears should perk up. Wait a minute, we got people out here who think the way for America to go forward is restrict information. They obviously want to abolish ownership of things. Karl Marx was very anti-family. Sometimes they haven't got all the way there, but We have to be on the lookout for that. It is very scary when organizations founded by Marxists are able to attract politicians from Congress to stand with them. That's a big danger sign. And of course, ultimately, after you destroy the churches or take over the churches, after you restrict travel, after you restrict the flow of information, finally, in some cases, communism leads to mass murder. And every American child should understand what happened in Red China, in Ukraine, in Russia, in Cambodia, in Cuba. Every American child should know that, but they don't know it. So I'm glad we have this bill. I hope every state around the country does what they can to educate their young children about what will happen to religion, what will happen to freedom of children, freedom of religion, what will happen, their goal for the family, and how they want to have, the children raised more and more by the government and less by the family. So I hope this bill moves forth, and I hope state legislators around the country are paying attention to this bill, and they do what they do in Florida and make sure every American child knows what Marxism and communism is about. Thank you, Congresswoman Salazar, and I hope in the near future we get this vote.
Passed, yes. Now, finally, Representative Jacobs.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman and Ambassador. It is an honor to be here, truly an honor. I'm honored to co-sponsor this legislation. One reason I'm here today is for my wife and her family, who escaped what was in Czechoslovakia at the time when she was 4 years old and her brother was 2 years old. They escaped. They took one suitcase each, said they were going on a weekend vacation, and never came back. Their aunt and uncle tried to do the same thing the next week and were captured and jailed. And talking with my wife's father about his experiences and why he was so passionate about coming to the United States and getting out of communism, he talked about the fact that it doesn't happen overnight usually, as was mentioned here. They take your freedoms away bit by bit, and before you know it, it's all gone. So that's why this is so important that we're doing this today. For the last century, communism has left an ugly and a deadly legacy in the world. Since its creation, over 100 million people worldwide have died at the hands of communists, and countless more starved, and tortured, or persecuted. We saw it under the tyranny of Vladimir Lenin, Mao Zedong, Joseph Stalin, Fidel Castro. Today, we still see the dangers of communism in China under the rule of the Communist Party there. As we stand here today, millions of Uyghurs are facing religious persecution, slavery, and execution. The threat of communism is real.
I gotta say, these people are winning me over, man. You guys want to teach all this to kids? I totally agree. Let's do it. Teach it all, just like Shorty said, man. What the guy said before about God was laughable, about people getting killed over religion. And I'm like, yeah, and how many people has religion killed? You fucking hypocrite motherfucker. Shut up, sit down. Nobody's listening to you.
Real, and it's important we have the tools in place to combat it. This legislation is not a mandate, but to develop a comprehensive curriculum and create materials so states, local governments, and schools have access to quality resources to teach about communism in the classroom. I want to thank you.
Oh my God, and you know what's hilarious? The one guy looked like the dude from... I swear, the one dude looked like the dude from Unhinged, and this guy right here looks like the lawyer from Unhinged. That's hilarious. The whole cast is here represented.
Again, Congresswoman Salazar for her leadership on this issue, ensuring that the next generation is armed with the facts that will help
when he looks up
combat the rising threat of China and further protect the world from the horrors of communism. Thank you.
So why does it keep fucking doing that? Why when I click on the screen does it change the fucking size of the goddamn screen instead of pausing the screen? What the fuck is that? That's weird as fuck.
Like you. So I call upon you because you have a civil and a duty to report the news the way it is, that what's happening, report what's happening in Congress and the threat of communism and democratic socialism that it's creeping up on this country. So just wanted to thank you and ask you to join the American exceptionality, continue doing your job the way you've done it, and understand.
Dude, clicking on the screen is pause for YouTube as well, Matthew. If you just click on the screen, I've been doing this for years. You just click on the screen, it pauses. You stop it, you click anywhere on the screen. This fucking changed the size of the fucking screen.
Through the news organization. So I want to thank all of you once again for having stayed, for having covered this press conference. Thanks again. What are you telling me? I can't understand. For the next speaker, okay? I'm sorry. John Suarez, I didn't see you, John, was here, but I think that I should give you the opportunity that you were going to be. John Suarez, the executive director at the Center for Free Cuba. If I know the horrors of communism, they know it better because they do it every day and they are here to report, and I'm delighted to give the opportunity.
Right. Communism is bad. It should be taught in schools because it involves history. I have no problem with that. And you teach critical race theory as well. And we're all getting along. And we all understand each other now. Thanks, Shorty. You know, thanks to Shorty, I totally get it. And what do you guys think? They're using a graphic of barbed wire to represent, yeah, communism. The United States is the second largest user of barbed wire in the world behind France, and we buy it from China. That's hilarious. Bro, that's just, even their little logo is hypocrisy in its only existence. It's hilarious. And Matthew, let me tell you something else about spacebar being paused for YouTube. If I'm clicking on this other screen, I got 3 monitors. If I click on one of my other monitors, spacebar won't work on that monitor. I have to click on the monitor, so I might as well just click on the screen, right? To get the spacebar to work there. Because I don't know if you know how I'm set up here. I've got my main screen here. It's a 73-inch screen. Main screen. Over here I've got a 22-inch, and then over here I've got another 22-inch screen. So I'm running 3 screens, so I've got to click on them. All right, one more time before we do anything else. Do you guys have anything to say about this whole thing? I mean, I'd like your opinions, please. My whole thing is, like Shorty said, if you're going to teach critical communism theory, which is fine, teach critical race theory as well, and, you know, it's imperialism. Just talk about all of it, right? Are we cool here, guys, or what do you guys think about that? You know, if you don't answer me, I'm going to shut the show down. I'm going to use one of your words to describe them. Shit lips. You like no beard because you could see me smile easier? The beard didn't hide my smile. Teach the whole truth. Right, yeah, teach the whole truth, right. Just teach history. You want to teach what communism's done? Great. Teach all the horrors of capitalism as well. You know, talk about capitalism today. Go into those fucking Twitter rooms and listen to those kids that are poor, that aren't working, that are begging for communism, actually. And they don't want to work. Kids don't want to work today, man. You know, listen to them. They're miserable at their jobs. They're not getting paid anything. They think their jobs are a fucking joke. They're not careers. Kids don't have careers anymore. Now they only have jobs. You know? It's not available. Josh, there's no age limit for the truth. What the fuck are you, a regulator, Josh? You know, what age are you going to teach kids about cannabis? God, man. Fucking that mentality, bro. Your fucking mentality sucks dick right now on this subject. Oh, God. nothing wrong with it as long as they tell the whole story. Exactly. You know, hey Josh, gee, did you ever think about this, bro? Maybe if you start teaching kids at a young age the things that we teach them later on in life, maybe they'll grow faster. Maybe they'll be more intelligent by the time they become mature adults. I mean, I don't have any children, Josh. I've never raised a child. I'm just doing this, like usual. But is that making sense to you, Josh? What I just said? You gonna age restrict cannabis use for a toddler that's having a seizure? You're gonna age restrict, oh, here's your presents, here's Santa. You're gonna start lying at that early age, you're gonna be honest with them. Yeah, and I'm answering, homie. And I hope you're getting the answer. Because, when we're talking about teaching something, and you're saying, a challenge will be introducing the content, God, it's just, I can't even respond to what you said, bro. I can't even respond to what you said. Don't want CRT in school, but want the Confederate flag because it's part of history. Ha, Nick. Right? I mean, Josh, is it okay that I can't respond to what you said? Oh my God, man. Okay, I'm going to respond to what you said. You said, I just think the challenge will be, how do you introduce the information? Okay, you put it in books and you have the teachers teach the curriculum to the kids. That's how you introduce information and content. Okay? And at what level? You start them in the fucking goddamn nursery school, bro. Instead of sitting down at a table with a turkey and fucking pine cone fucking pilgrims and Native Americans, and that stupid narrative that they had some kind of a dinner that they all sat around and sang fucking Kumbaya when they're goddamn babies. You fucking tell them the truth. This is what really happened. A bunch of evil motherfuckers came here, stole land, and murdered people. Welcome to the real world, kids. Why do you want to lie, man, There, I answered it. Your mentality that you're displaying right now is the same mentality people have about cannabis. They're going to fucking write a law that's going to protect children from cannabis. Bro, I have it on my shirt right now, man. Fuck your regulation. You're thinking about the graphic nature of it? Yeah. Josh, dude, I'm going to read what you just said out loud. He says, I'm just thinking about the graphic nature of it. My bad. Kids are so innocent. It's a shame they have to be introduced to such evil and be taught to interpret and understand it. The way it has to be taught, I don't want to lie at all. I'm all about the truth. Good. But the graphic nature of it, Josh, kids have the internet today, bro. I don't know if you realize what kids are already exposed to. But, they got the internet. Kids today are different, man. And it's time we start educating children at an earlier age. Can't tell kids simple history, but we can tell them, sell cookie door to door to strangers and let them get beat up over a leather egg. They see it on TV and games. Beat up over a leather egg. What? They see it on TV and games. Bro, children are exposed to it. and and you're worried about at what age. You said it will be a challenge. It'll be hard to figure out. Hey man, here's the idea. Come up with the fucking the grade that you parents feel like kids can take that kind of information and start giving it to them at that age. How that was so hard to do, Josh. Oh, it's going to be such a challenge. How are we going to introduce the information? Do you see? Do you see now, Josh? Now do you see? Now do you see, Josh? Now do you understand? Now do you see? Footballs, Lisa says. They see it in football. Let's check the news. That'll be fun. It's always fun checking the news. It's just 2 buttons away. A whole news universe waiting for us. They're gonna they might charge the staff of the school for the school shooting because they didn't search the kid's locker. Holy shit, that is fucked up. New York City to mandate COVID vaccines for all private sector workers. Wow. A power company is leaching toxic metals into one of the country's most ecologically significant places. Honolulu shut down its largest water source. Who can lead the charge in combating climate crisis? Dude, you guys are fucking idiots. These people are idiots, man. Combat climate. Oh yeah, you're gonna combat it, all right. Why are people so stupid? Why the fuck are people so stupid? It's no surprise to me, during the smallpox epidemic, New York PD busted down doors of anti-vaxxers and vaccinated them forcefully, thousands of people. Oh, smallpox. That's crazy. Jim Jordan says real America is done with COVID, right? With the marching in the streets, right? And the Oxford the Oxford vigil, none of them wearing masks. That's true, right? These maps indicate otherwise. That's a good headline right there, man. Real America is done with COVID. Yeah, let me know when your real relative fucking dies, trying to breathe their last breath of air, struggling for air. Let me know when that happens, Jim Jordan. You fucking cunt! I ran out of breath. I would have done it longer. What's behind the attacks on Dr. Fauci? That's an opinion piece on CNN. Oh, I'll tell you. Maybe it's the fact that he's a fucking liar. Maybe it's the fact that he was working on vaccines for epidemics in a laboratory that was literally based in the same town where COVID came from. I don't know. Seems a little suspicious to me. It's kind of coincidental, huh? Of all places in the world, for this one fucking goddamn pandemic to start from. It just happened to start right there in that little town. You know, where Fauci was doing research on that shit. How convenient. I don't know, man. Just doing this now. Changed vaccination rules. History of forced vaccines in America. Fucking crazy. The new U.S. COVID cases are the highest in 2 months. That doesn't sound good. There's my Beazle. There's my Beazle. Here comes my Beazle. I love my Beazle. How's my Beazle? I definitely love you, Beazle. What you doing, buddy? Oh, get those legs all warmed up today, yeah? Uh-huh. And get them ready to go outside. Doing stuff. What you gotta do? You got stuff. You got branches. You gotta go eat them. Yeah. You gotta go do it. What? What? You talking to my pet funny? Psst. Nobody talks to the pet funny anymore, pal. Who's that? He's like, aren't you gonna give me some more goddams? Yeah, I'll give you some more. I'll give you a little more. I'll give you some more. Oh, good rubbies in the morning. He's like, where you been all my life, Daddy? Where you been all my life, Daddy? Why are you so beautiful? Why are you so beautiful? Why are you so beautiful, Beazle? Rogie, 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 rogue. Why are you so beautiful, my Beazle? Why are you so beautiful, my Beazle? My Rogie Rogan Beazle Bees. Rogie Rogan is so beautiful. He likes when I sing his name delicately. Rogan in the morning. Rogan. What's up, bees? What's up, bees? Why you so beautiful? Makes me want to put my boots on and go walk that new road, son. Love my way, it's a new road. I fall off and my mind goes. Love my way, it's a new rogie rogue, rogie rogue. Oh, Rogie Rogue is so beautiful. Oh, Rogie. Rogie Rogan. Dude. We're gonna go for a nice hike. I'm gonna put my fucking boots on, bro. I'm gonna get some goddamn socks. We're gonna go march down that goddamn road. And we're gonna go look at it with our eyes, and we're gonna walk some feet and burn some calories. That's what we're gonna go do. We're gonna go burn some goddamn calories. Anyway, I love you guys. I will see you guys this afternoon at 1 o'clock, as predicted, exactly as I predicted. Bitcoin is at 48.8 right now, and Ethereum is at 4,113. Sandbox is down to 518, and let's talk about for the first time in 2 months, the U.S. is averaging more than 100,000 new COVID-19 cases each day, shortly after millions of Americans traveled for the Thanksgiving holiday. Also on the rise is the number of COVID-19 deaths, with a 7-day average of 1,651 people dying from the virus each day as of Saturday. So, check this out. You guys, every day in the United States, are you ready for this? Every day in the United States, it's like 8 737s are fucking crashing and killing all 1,651 passengers on board. Every fucking day. It's a 9/11 every 2 days going on in this country right now. Just so you know, remember those facts. That's where COVID is. And Jim Jordan says real America's done with it. Well, you know what? I can't wait for all of those motherfuckers to catch it and deal with it. Because you know what? This is a fantastic IQ test for those morons. And when you fail this IQ test, you fucking die. Josh? We'll stop having so many stupid holidays. Perhaps tell Boxing Day and Thanksgiving National Fucking Pinky Finger Day to fuck off already. I think Josh has had too much male vitality. Josh. I'm just thinking about the graphic nature of it. Oh, Josh. From before. All right, you guys. How does Jim keep his job? All right, you guys, take care. I love y'all. Bye-bye. Jim Jordan. How does he keep his job? He's a fucking politician, bro. He's bought off.